have the time to listen to me whine about nothing and everything all at once. I am one of those melodramatic fools, neurotic to the bone, no doubt about it. Sometimes I give myself the creeps. Sometimes my mind plays tricks on me. It all keeps adding up. I think I'm cracking up. Am I just paranoid? Am I just stoned?
Welcome to the Jim Reith Show Unleashed podcast. This is episode number 39, and our Yahoo of the week was a very easy one. It's me. That's correct.
You do?
I went to Southwick Beach when it was 90, forgot my sunscreen, forgot my hat. So we sat on the beach in some camp chairs.
Oh, yeah.
Holding umbrellas. Hey, I had to keep that sun off me, man. It was hot. I loved that place, by the way. I hadn't been there in a long time.
We played a double. We were at the Tiki Bar in Baldwinsville on the 4th of July, and then we played the Coloca Winery on the 5th of July. Mm-hmm. I think I've ever sweat so much in my life. To the point where that's why these are here, my in-ears that I use for scars, the cords are shorted out.
No kidding. From sweating.
But this is the best thing about these. I use Ultimate Ears. If anybody's a musician and knows anything about in-ear monitors, I use Ultimate Ears, which is the industry standard. I went to NAMM, the big music convention last year in L.A., and I had these electronically fitted to my head. They had this thing that they put around my head, and it's the best fit I've ever had for the in-ear because they're molded to the ends of my ears. So I was playing on Saturday on Friday, and I felt the right one get lower and lower, and then I thought maybe I had just killed the speaker itself. But my good friend Mike, who's doing some work with Ultimate Ears, said, he goes, switch out the cords on each side and see if that works, and it did. So the cords are $100. So that little cord is $100.
Jeez.
$1,200 for the whole thing.
Wow.
It's a triple driver. I was getting my
should be a triple driver.
I was getting
a quadruple driver.
I was getting my fitting, and I'm sitting there in a chair on a bar thing with a computer in front of me, and they're showing me, and over the computer I see Debbie Gibson just standing there, and I go,
the real Debbie
Gibson, and she's a Ultimate Ear sponsored artist. And I look at the guy, I said, hurry this up. I had to go say hi to Deb. Waited for a manager and bodyguard to kind of drift off to the side. The thing, if you've never been to NAMM, it's the biggest music convention in the world. It's a week-long thing. And it's hard to get in, and it's very expensive to get in. Yeah. When you could pay upwards of $500-$600 for a ticket for the weekend. But every major guitar, drums, every musical thing from, student stuff for education to the pros that are touring are there, and they're walking around amongst you. So superstars and musicians are just walking around amongst you. And it's fun. You go walk by and look, there's that guy, there's that guy, there's that guy. And then some booths have a stage set up. There was one booth, and it was next to the Ultimate Ear booth. They had a stage. Everything was in-ears. Oh. And they were showing how soft stage volume could be, and then how soft the music can be coming out the front end if your stage volume is non-existent.
Right.
And they had a few up-and-coming guitar players and stuff play with a band, and it was just amazing because the drum was an electronic drum kit, so there was no stage sound at all. Everything was going through their ears, and the sound coming out the front, it was pristine. It was immaculate. And that's the stuff that they do all day. And you get deals. I didn't pay. I paid less than $1,200 for these. But I bought a professional teleprompter while I was there. It was half the price. I spent last year when I went. But it's worth it. it's a fun day, and I play in this band called Held Hostage.
Yep.
They're from the area. They've been around since the 80s. And one of the guys in the band has an endorsement with Viper Guitars, and that's how we got into NAMM.
Oh, okay.
I went in as a sponsored artist. It was fun.
I bet it was fun.
I was going to go to Disneyland. Disneyland's literally across the street. So I was going to say, I'll go to the convention for a few hours because obviously they comped us to get in. And I was going to walk across the street. And 6 hours later, I'm still like, I haven't gone through half of it yet.
So
Doug Bissonette was playing drums one time.
Wow.
Yeah. It was. There's people all around. A guitar player for Whitesnake just walking around doing guitar stuff. They have clinics, teaching, the whole thing. It's fun.
Man, so Disneyland.
Never been.
To show you how old I am. I was in Disneyland when you could there was a bunch of small motels right down the street from Disneyland, and we stayed in one of those. I was in the Navy. It's a bunch of sailors, and we stayed in there and went to Disneyland. Walked in. I think it was $20.
Oh yes.
But that was the only thing that was there was Disneyland.
Well, when Disneyland was built, it was built in the middle of Anaheim. So there was already businesses and stuff, and Walt kind of didn't like that, and that's what gave Walt the idea to go make up phony company names, buy the land in Orlando, and have his own area that nobody else could come in without his say.
So he wanted to be in St. Louis.
Yes.
And August Bush said, no, because you won't serve my beer.
That's right.
So you're not coming here.
How that's changed now. Every park has alcohol in it.
Oh, yeah.
Magic Kingdom at the restaurants, you still can't go to a trolley or a cart and have a beer, but you can the other three parks. You can, Epcot, that's encouraged because of the drinking around the world, because you can start at Canada on one end and you just keep going around.
Wow.
And each country has its own beer and specialty drink.
Never knew that.
Oh yeah. And there's actually companies that make like passports for drinking around the world where you mark it off and say what you drank. So by the time you get halfway through, you can't see.
Probably not. Wow. Man. No, when I was in Disney World many, many years ago, so that Epcot was nothing like it is now. It was there, but it wasn't anything like it is now. The big draw back then was the penguins. They had penguins. That was a huge draw in Epcot. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I'm telling you, it was just bizarre. So do you want to talk about IKEA now, or do you want to wait?
I can. So we know we got IKEA coming to the Destiny, and I looked into it this morning. It's not going to be your major, huge IKEA.
So it's 70,000 square feet. A regular standalone IKEA store is 400,000 square feet.
And that's the part of the story I got to tell. So I've never been to a IKEA before, and I used to collect wrestling figures, tons of them. And in the wrestling figure world, a lot of the collectors would buy these things called detals, and it was an IKEA specific case that they make for collectibles or stuff like that. I have one left. I used to have three of them.
You're talking about
display cases.
Okay.
Display case that I used to have. I had somebody from England make me these like stands, but they were like risers for the wrestlers that were tiered. So it was 3 tiered risers, and then on the front of the riser had like the original WWF logo, and then like the original SummerSlam logo, and then the original, and then I would coordinate those figures on those stands.
Yeah, you were into it.
Yeah, and then when we moved, I sold. I didn't want all that stuff, and I still have more stuff than I know. So I have to go to IKEA in St. Catharines,
Ontario,
to pick up the detals.
Got any anti-Trump stuff on your phone?
Do I have anti-Trump stuff?
Mm-hmm.
I might. Why?
If they pull you over at the border, they might not let you.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Not. I mean, it's not like on like it's. I have Brave stuff. I mean, it's not anti-Trump. I mean, I don't like him, so if they went through my phone, they'd probably see some messages.
There you go.
But last time I went in February. I got right through. It was fine. Yeah. So with a friend of mine. And you do know that before here, marijuana was legal in Canada long before here.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I go to Canada a ton. I love going to Canada, the Niagara Falls area and the Toronto area. I'll pick a concert of the bigger concerts that would be a New York City.
Mm-hmm.
It's so much easier to go to
Toronto.
Canada and parking and traffic and everything. So I had decided to the time before this IKEA trip, we were in the middle of Toronto and we saw a line going down the block at crossed the street and went down another block, and we asked the record store we were in, the cross street, Sonic Boom, what's going on across the street? He goes, that's the first legal cannabis store in Toronto.
Wow.
And I said, we ain't waiting in that line. So the next time I came, I had to go to IKEA, and we got in, and I decided before I went into the IKEA to partake in the goodies that I bought at the dispensary. I had never been to an IKEA before.
That was a wrong idea.
If I was home, I would have probably walked in and then walked right out. Because it was so, like, overwhelming. It's overwhelming if you've ever been to an IKEA. You walk into this lobby thing, and there's all these stairs going, all these things, and there's stuff everywhere. Yeah. And I just, like, I can't look around. We got to just, because I had pre-ordered them, so I just had to go to the warehouse thing. And that was the next funny part. So now I have this Detolf. I have three of them. I bought one for somebody else too. In the back of my truck. Now they wouldn't fit in my. I had them in from the front of the car to the back of my. I have a Equinox, so they were sitting in between us.
Yes.
In the boxes.
They're made of glass.
Each thing had two boxes with each with all the stuff in it. Glass in one box, all the other stuff in the other. So they're in between us.
They're thin
these
boxes, right?
Yeah, they're about 2 or 3 inches thick. Yeah. And I've got 6 of them because I bought 3. Not in my right state of mind, and it took me a while to go back to IKEA. But if you go to IKEA sober?
How did you cross the border with the things like that?
They just let us go back.
No kidding. Yeah. That's great.
There's nothing else in the car. We'd always toyed with if we have ever had extra stuff to bring it with a negative.
Yeah, no.
We traded records for it in Hamilton, Ontario one time. We
Really?
had some left over, and we're like, we just got to get rid of this stuff. So the girl looked like a hippie that was at the record store. So we're like, hey, you want this? She's like, yeah. She's like, pick something out. I'm like, great. It's like a barter deal.
Yeah.
But yes, if you haven't been to an IKEA, this one is going to be like a mini version. It's going to have the food. They're known for their Swedish meatballs.
Right.
But if you ever, I think there's one in King of Prussia.
Correct. That's the one I went to.
Yeah. In that area. Go and just, you won't believe it.
Experience, yes.
Yeah, you won't believe it.
Definitely an experience.
You can spend all day there, and the furniture's very nice, and it's very inexpensive,
and it's very difficult to put together.
It takes you forever.
It's ridiculous.
Once you kind of have to, when these Detolfs, when I was doing them, you have to figure out ways to do certain things, and once you got it, then you have a rhythm. But man, there's 7,000 parts to each thing.
Yes, and it's not like American stuff. Okay.
No.
It's sometimes it doesn't make any logical sense that you're going to put together something the way they tell you to do it. Always do it the way they tell you to do it until you can't. And then you got to jury rig something to try to do it that way. So,
but
yeah,
if I could have had a camera on my face when I walked in the first time, I think I may have went white, because it's just like you don't know what's going. It's like everything's big. Everything's
it's
big.
Gigantic. I mean, 400,000 square feet is gigantic.
Even the parking lot with all the flags on the building, and you got the blue and yellow. It's just
it can be overwhelming, definitely, especially when you're not in your right mind.
When I first saw an IKEA, I thought it was a car like thing.
Right? Yeah, it does sound like it would be a car brand. Yes. Yep. Yeah, I went years ago to a King of Prussia one, and I can't remember if we bought something or not. We may have. It's just you look at the stuff and you're like, "Wow, that is so cool," and then you picture it in your house and you're like, "Yeah, no, no." It's Scandinavian stuff, and it's pretty. Some of the stuff is pretty cool.
They're also known for those 4 8 square vinyl record holders that I've got too.
Yes. Yep.
And that's
Very
a lot
good.
of people get those.
Right. Well, we'll talk more about the substance that made you want to dash out of IKEA and who's selling it and who's not supposed to be selling it after we talk to our guests. Joe Driscoll is going to be here. He's a major part of the Route 81 project, and he's going to fill us in on what's going on. Great dude. Mark Macri joins us, too. He's another in our continuing effort to bring you local musicians that you may not know, may not have heard. We'll introduce you to Mark. He has a connection to a previous podcast guest that we'll get into just a little bit. And we'll talk to the mayor of Syracuse. Ben Walsh is going to be here, and boy, we got some stuff to talk about with him. All right, you ready?
Let's do it.
Let's go. Joining us now on the podcast, a very special guest, because we're going to learn a lot about the 81 project and a lot about a couple of other things as soon as Bill goes upstairs.
I know my dog's going nuts.
Strangles that dog, that Mark dog. Anyway, Joe, you're working on the 81 project as we speak, right?
Yes, hence the high vis jacket. Yes, working on the 81 project as we speak, doing some murals outside of Martin Luther King Jr. School.
Love that. Love public art. Love all the murals that we can get. But you're doing it for a reason, right? A couple of reasons.
Yeah, we basically this is one of the grants that I wrote and won called the Reconnecting Communities Grant. We're basically looking at traffic calming measures to increase connectivity here on the south side, the southwest side of the viaduct. So we're looking at MLK, Taylor, Colvin, Adams Street, looking at all these streets, trying to figure out, once the viaduct is gone, how do we make sure people have an easier time getting from the west side of the viaduct to the east side? So, people that work at the hospitals, the universities, trying to work on. So this mural is basically traffic calming, slowing people down, showing them how it works with traffic calming measures that slow traffic down for them.
So as we're driving around central New York lately, you can certainly see that the project is well underway. Lots of construction going on. So where are we in the project?
Yeah, so we're nearing kind of the halfway point. So the project is split up into two major phases. There's 8 contracts all day. The first 5 are in phase 1, and so we're kind of they imagine each phase taking 2 to 3 years. We're probably about 2 years into phase 1. So the phase 1 stuff is, the northern and southern interchanges that you've seen down up north there and down in on Brighton near Loretto. That's basically making it so people will still be able to use what's currently 481. In the future will be called 81 for that stretch from that southern point to that northern point. So that when they do actually take out the viaduct, high-speed traffic still has a route. And then the other roads, the other contracts they're working on is those bridges on the north side, Court, Spencer, Bear, all the stuff by the mall. The university area, Krause and Irving. Now, both those roads are getting converted from one-way to two-way. And contract 5 is right where I'm at right now, from Colvin to Burt. So basically, near MLK School, all the area where there's the Syracuse Housing Authority housing, Pioneer Homes, Central Village. They'll basically be bringing all that down to grade, bringing it lower. And then a roundabout will go in Van Buren. So basically, where that as you leave the dome, as you go down that hill, the backside there where that parking lot is, there'll be a roundabout there to disperse the traffic if you want to go east or west at that location. So that's all going on. Then the big stuff actually comes in a year or so. Man. When we actually take down the viaduct, do West Street, Highway, all the big ticket items are in phase 2 that people have been waiting for to take down the viaduct. So, but first we're building everything else out so that it's ready when the viaduct is actually removed, because that's going to be a real challenge for downtown.
Oh yeah, no question about that. But let's segue into something, because you mentioned the Pioneer Home project and all that stuff. Unfortunately, a $30 million grant was taken back by the Trump administration. They're taking back money that supposedly hasn't been spent yet. I guess that's what they're doing. And so that really affects efforts to redevelop that area that you were just talking about, right?
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, it's a real heartbreak. we worked on this for years. All of these things in government are like 10-year pipelines. Everything is like from the beginning of the writing to the implementation to going forward. And so from our perspective, the Trump administration just decided, although this was already had congressional approval, had already been through the process, contracts are signed, a portion of the money has already been allocated. They're going to take all that money back. And it's not only Syracuse. There's I think somewhere in the ballpark of like 2.5 billion or something for projects all across the country. And for me, I don't know what else I can say. It's just a heartbreak because I think we often think of government doing this, that, and the other with the controversial issues like all the hot button issues, but really what they're supposed to be doing is infrastructure, and this is like what this country is dying for. Is we need to rebuild our bridges, our roads, our sidewalks, and to take that much money from this funding that was going to go to fix some of the most broken infrastructure in the country is just it boggles the mind for me. But I'm just really sad because it really would have done a ton of good in this neighborhood where I'm sitting right now.
And so what happens to that neighborhood right now?
It's uncertain. This creates there's the highway project. People are always conflating the two. There's a highway project and then the housing project that's right next to it. They're very different projects being run by different teams. The highway project is all the state. The housing stuff is all the federal government. And the highway project has been fully funded. That's off to the races. That's moving. The housing stuff had a budget gap before this. We're still struggling to find all the money to get it done. And then just, poking big holes in it with this funding being pulled out. The future is uncertain for how the housing rebuild is going to happen with this. We're hopeful, we're looking at other grants. We're looking at other possibilities and opportunities. But at the moment, losing 30 million is a real dent that we haven't figured out how we're going to work around yet.
And I think that one of the problems is that people above certainly the state's pay grade, people in the federal government don't value redoing the neighborhood the same way they do redoing the highway. To me,
Yeah.
they're equally important, and one goes with the other. To them, it's like, well, all I care about is the highway, and whatever happens to the neighborhood, well, the state's on their own or whatever. That's what it seems like what they're doing.
Yeah, totally. And I've been living this project for the last decade or so. When I was on the council, I was the transportation chair, and a lot of the reasons I wanted to run for office and be involved in local government was because of this project. And I've heard everybody talk about it, but a big thing for the federal representatives to remember is, a lot of these businesses and houses were knocked down during the construction of this. And so to say that these two are unrelated or unconnected, that you could do one without the other, really is just, repeating the sins of the past. And just, it breaks my heart that the human factor, the housing factor, the quality of life for the people next to the highway isn't getting as much shine or attention as the road itself. I've been trying to fight as much as I can, but like you said, there's certain people above my pay grade, a lot of them actually.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Joe, do you have any interest in running for mayor?
I wouldn't rule it out, as far as running for higher office again someday. I ran for council and then this job came up with 81. And like I said, this was a big thing that motivated me to want to run for office or be involved in government. So to be able to do that, I wouldn't rule it out, but I'm very content where I am. When I was an elected official, I'd go to Wegmans and people would yell at me while I was getting ice cream with my wife.
Yell at him of all people.
Yeah, I would get it everywhere. And then, there's a certain level of you got to attend every event, and there's a lot of eyes on you and a lot of public pressure. I just love what turns me on about being in government is stuff like this. Like you come out this morning, there's nothing here. At the end of the day, there's a beautiful mural designed by the kids. They feel great. We're going to slow down traffic, hopefully prevent some accidents from happening. Doing stuff that impacts quality of life is what turns me on. So if I can not had the all eyes on me effect and still get stuff done. I'm happy where I am, but I would never say never. I felt like with this past mayoral race, if a candidate I didn't believe in was didn't step up, I would have considered running. But Sharon Owens is someone I've worked with for a long time, so I felt confident she was ready for the job.
And Joe has a different passion too. You wouldn't be able to do a lot of the other stuff that you're passionate about if you had that higher office.
Yeah,
So yeah, that's something to think of too, because
Right.
Joe is a very accomplished musician,
Yes.
like
yeah.
world famous, worldwide kind of dude. And we're lucky to have him here because he's the biggest cheerleader for Syracuse that's ever been, and he's probably one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet.
Oh,
So
thank
him
you
being
kindly.
the mayor would be a great thing, but because I know as a musician that piece of your heart would be gone because you wouldn't be able to put that much time into it.
Totally, and that you nailed it right there. My favorite show in the universe is The Wire, and there's a
Oh
great
yeah,
scene where one of the former mayors, he only went for one term, and the guy asked, "Why didn't you go for a second term? You had everything, the name recognition." He said, "I realized getting home at 5 o'clock, eating dinner with my wife and kids, and was just a fine life. That's a fine life." And so, to your point, I still DJ a ton. I still play music. I still get to sit in my room and noodle. And a lot of that would be impacted if I took on the mayor's role. It's pretty much a 24/7, 365 gig when you take it. So happy where I am, but definitely wouldn't rule something out if the right calling in the right place came.
Isn't he the dude with the violin? Didn't you used to play violin?
no,
No?
he's got a
No.
big pedal board at his feet. He's the looping master.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right. Okay. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome.
Beatbox champ. Yep.
Oh yeah, back in the days of no borders, no boundaries up at Syracuse University, the
Yeah.
bookstore upstairs. That's when I
Way
went
back.
way
Er,
back.
Nice.
late 90s, early 2000s.
You
Yep.
went from that to teaching Ed Sheeran how to loop,
There you go.
right, Joe?
Indeed. Indeed.
Nice.
A 16-year-old Ed Sheeran did used to come to my shows in London and ask me what pedals I used and
That's
stuff.
awesome.
So,
That's
yeah.
fantastic. All right, man. Thank you for your time. We're going to catch up as the 81 project moves along. I definitely want to have you on again and again. So I really appreciate your time today.
Hey, thanks so much for having me anytime, guys. It's an absolute pleasure to sit and chat with you.
In our continuing effort to introduce you to musicians you may not have heard out and about, and to get to allow you to know them better, Mark Macri is here, and we have an interesting story to share in a couple of minutes. But first, let's introduce you to Mark. How are you?
Hey, good morning. How's it going, Jim?
It's
I'm good.
fantastic. Thank you. Bill and I are doing great, and we're happy to have you on the program.
I'm happy to
Tell
be
me,
here.
tell me about your musical career, Mark. How'd you start?
Well, as far as like actual dates, I started at 22 in 1986 with but it wasn't full time at that point. It was I auditioned for a band and I they took me. It was a four-piece band, and I was approached because they said they're going to tour Japan for a few months, and I was like extremely green at that point, and probably the only reason I got the gig is because I could sing, But I mean, literally just so green on the keyboards though. But I passed the audition, and we did a few gigs in the tri-state area before we went over, and then we went over to Japan for like 5 months.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty crazy. It's my first professional gig, and I'm halfway around the world. And they could have done so much better than me, but I got the gig, so it is what it is. So
Hey, but you got to be in the
yeah.
right place at the right time.
Well, sometimes I think I was a late bloomer, as far as getting into it. I mean, because my friends John Liebing, who may he rest in peace, he started playing out probably when he was like 17. You know, my you know my solo career didn't happen until I was 27,
Mm.
1991. I went solo, and I played with Danny Holmes like a little over a year before that, before I went solo. And it was a good launching point for me for going solo. I learned a lot. So
Now, do you perform solo, or you also have a band, though, right?
yeah, so I'm doing both. The solo gig obviously is the primary gig because I am a full-time musician. So that's how I make money or live or survive, if you will, such as it is. The summertime is, the work comes to you, but the other 8 months,
Right. Yep.
that's a little bit
Feast
more
or
lean.
famine.
Yeah, you better believe it. That's pretty much it. I lived in Orlando for 15 years, and so I would do like 8 months there, and then 4 months up here, or a month in the Midwest on the road, and then come here. And so that schedule was, that was constant all year round. I was always working. But then when I moved back home, the realities of our colder climate is what it is, right?
Right.
So
Best
now I'm just
thing
working.
ever is I'm in Disney family forever.
Right.
I'm walking
Yeah.
in downtown Disney Springs, and I'm like, man, I know that voice from somewhere. It's Mark's set up on the porch of the House of Blues. Little crowd around him.
No
He
kidding.
was awesome. Yeah, I'm like, that's
Yeah, I had a
Syracuse boy.
I had
Fantastic.
I had almost a 14-year residency there. So, and every time I
Man.
go back down to Florida, they still have me,
No
which is
kidding.
great. I mean, really, really generous of them, and they're so sweet. And they always have me back. I just got to tell them ahead of time, and they always make room for me, which is really nice.
Yeah.
Really nice, So I no complaints there. So
No,
I just
absolutely
love.
not.
That was the gig that kept me sane, really, from being away from home. Orlando never felt like home to me,
Right. Yeah. No.
it was a place where I kept my stuff, you know, but it never
Orlando
felt like
seems to
home.
be a real transient place. It's people were
Well,
like they come for a while, then they move on.
I think Orlando, especially because of all the hospitality gigs and all that stuff. Like the West Coast, a little bit more cultured and a little bit more established. East Coast, I think for me personally, I think East Coast was more touristy than the
Mhm.
West Coast. I think a lot of people were going to the West Coast to like settle in, where the East Coast was kind of a transient place too, I think,
Yeah, I agree.
So
I agree
yeah,
completely.
yeah.
Now
Mhm.
we had a podcast guest here a couple of pods ago, and
Oh, I know who you're
my
talking about.
my childhood friend Mark Turcott.
Yeah.
Explain how you came to meet Mark Turcott, who was also, by the way, a keyboard player like you.
Yes. Well, that's the parallels, that we kind of, really
Scared.
discovered as we got to know each other.
Right.
I mean, just insane, just insane. So I don't know, years ago, well, I think we established that we actually touched, like, actually talked to each other maybe in 2018. I think
Okay.
was that sound right?
Sounds right.
Um, so I have a cousin in Wisconsin who is totally into the whole genealogy, family tree type thing, and Mark hit with her. And actually, ironically, she's one of my closest cousins. I just love her to death. And then she calls me and then says to me, "You don't think your mom ever gave up a child for adoption, do you?" And I thought that was a ridiculous question. I mean, as far as I knew, my mom had two kids. I was the oldest. I have a half brother, not quite 2 years younger than me. Um, so I'm like, well, what about one of my uncles or something? I mean, because my mom had siblings, and she goes, no, I think it would be your mom. And so I'm like, okay. So I start asking around, and it is so bizarre to me that my mom, or I should say our mom, passed in 2009 in July. We're almost coming up to her anniversary. um and the family kept it a secret the whole entire time. And even my aunt, God bless her, love her to death, can't keep a secret. It can't, she's somewhat talkative. How she kept a secret that I have a sibling out there is beyond me. I just
Well,
don't know. And
I
then when
think
I ask some family members, and it's like matter of factly, oh yeah, she had another kid. I'm like, what do you? I mean, really? It's like I'm the last to know. It's like it's crazy. But nobody ever talked about it. So back then it wasn't popular.
that's
She's a
exactly right.
teenage kid, and 1961 she gave up a kid, and so like nobody really talked about it. So and here we are. And Mark was gracious. Mark was not pushy, because I had a lot of conflicted emotions about it.
Of course, sure.
But now it's like we talk every week. I just texted him, told him I was going to be on your show, and I count him as a blessing for sure.
And you
You
can
know,
see it now. You can
so
see
it's
it.
Yes, you can see it.
See it now.
Oh,
Can you?
absolutely. You should see a
You
picture.
can?
Yes.
I got to show you. I got to show you a picture of Mark when he was really young. Okay, he looks just like Mark Macri does right now. It's
It's crazy.
amazing to me. If you see
You
this
know,
picture, you won't believe
And
it.
the first time I met Mark
That's
in
crazy.
person was here. You know,
Right.
I've known about Mark because he was in the media and stuff, and you
Right.
talking about him.
Right.
But
Mhm.
even when he said that story, I'm like, you know what? he
Yeah,
does.
I'm telling you, it's amazing.
You know, it's funny. I'm not sure I saw it off the bat or whatever, but like one of Mark's daughters, I think it was Nicole, said that, you know, there's some facial structure, you know, similarities or whatever. And like I didn't see it, you know what I mean? Who knows? It's just such a bizarre,
It
you know, I
is.
think your mind has to take, you know, has to take so much time to even wrap your head around it, you
Yeah,
know.
no
So
question about it. And
yeah,
it's
but
nice that I think that you guys have a positive relationship.
oh, we
And
do, right? Because it could go the other way,
yeah,
right?
it
You know,
definitely could.
it could, but I count him as a blessing. There's no question, you know.
Awesome.
So what? Yeah,
And
he is definitely my brother.
now I
So
guess
it's all good.
he's discovered the same way his father, his birth father, who his birth father was, and it turns out that he was on the radio in Syracuse.
Right,
It's
right,
so
right,
bizarre. It is.
right.
It's so
Oh,
bizarre.
hey, you want to hear something more? Apparently, so Mark just told me this when he was up here. Um, and so I had an uncle, uh, Terry Golden, who was in a band called the Madisons, and they were pretty popular around here. And they had, I guess, they did get a record deal. But Mark's biological father took their money and ran, apparently, because he was, I guess, he was, you know, quote unquote, managing them.
Right, right,
And so yeah, so you know, Marcus told me little snippets. He got, you know, I guess he was quite a philanderer, you know,
right. Yeah, I
and
heard
you
that
know,
too. Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
So but you know, I don't. I asked. I think I told somebody the name. I have like one uncle, my one of my mom's brothers, but he didn't seem to know who it was. So you know, I didn't
Interesting.
get much out of him, you know,
Right.
as far
Yeah.
as like Mark Turcott's dad.
Right.
So yeah, crazy.
Very interesting stuff, really. So where's your next gig?
Where am I? I'm up at Rainbow Shores tomorrow, Thursday.
I'm there
Piggy
Saturday.
Pat's out in, uh, what's that?
I'm there Saturday.
Oh, are you?
Yep.
Ah, look at that. It's a cool spot. It's a cool spot. Um, I would much rather play outdoors if possible, as you probably can
Oh
attest to
yeah,
that, Bill.
Yeah.
especially this
The
time of year.
inside, yeah, inside's a little weird. Boy, they do get my first gig there. I swear to God, the wind was like 30 knots off the lake, but you know, but kept the mosquitoes off me. So
True.
yeah, I'm up in New
And
Hartford at
Bridget's
Piggy
great.
Pat's Friday.
Bridget's fantastic.
Yeah, she's very nice. She's very nice, very accommodating. Yeah, so yeah, I'm in New Hartford Friday, Old Forge Sunday, or no, yeah, Sunday, Frankfurt Monday. I get around, obviously,
Yeah, I
as we
guess
all do.
so.
What
You
are you
know,
doing now?
when
What?
you're
How many gigs do you do during in the summertime in a week?
You know, I'm like I gave a Billy Davidson a gig today that at the retreat because he thought he actually booked it, but he did not. But I'm like, you know what? I'll step aside. I'm probably doing like 22 shows a month
Mm,
in the summer, you
Wow.
know,
yeah,
which is,
it's about
you
it.
know, yeah. I mean,
That's a
and Bill,
lot.
right? Bill, hell, Bill's his solo gig and like two other bands,
Yeah,
right? Bill, you're probably doing all of that and more,
yeah.
right?
I tried to stop. I've very limited the going from one place to another this summer,
Yeah.
just because I want to have a life.
Oh,
And my
good for
daughter's
you.
getting older now, so
And what about the
Right.
fair?
yeah, that's the whole fair thing is this is probably going to be my last multiple date fair. It's just every year it
Yeah.
just gets more difficult. And that's two things, age
Right.
and it's just not as accommodating as and it's
It
not
really
like
isn't. Yeah.
and
There
it's not as
it's
fruitful as
no.
it used to be back in the day too. I used to make more money in tips
Oh,
than I did
Yeah.
the salary. And the salary's, it's nothing to shake your head at. But
Yeah.
it just seems like but that's everything is cyclical in this business.
yeah.
It'll come. Everything will come back around. She's got to be patient. You can keep digging. Just
Yeah.
keep digging. I find the
Yeah.
places. I'm sure Mark does the same thing. You find the places
I
where you're.
you know, I agree with you, Bill, on the fair thing. And I'm not really an early riser, and you got to be there before 9 o'clock to
Yeah.
drop your stuff inside,
Yep.
and then you leave because they don't let you park near like like in that, how Bill, they don't let you park closer to the loading area,
Yep.
so you got to be there before 9 o'clock in the morning, set your stuff
Be
or
out by
put it in
10
a
o'clock.
room. Yeah, and then come back and then set it up. And
Wow.
then, and then like at 11 or whatever, you can bring your truck in to like load out. And then, last 2 years I did it, it rained. And it was like, so there's nobody.
Oh my
Yep.
And the last time I was there, I was up against Boy George. I'm like, where am I going? So,
So the
so I'm
big
like, and I would have been there.
you play at
I
Bosco's,
was like,
right, Mark? You play at
yeah, yeah,
Bosco's, so
yeah.
I do too.
And
And
they're the only people that would talk me into going there. So,
so I'm back there this year, and we booked the date, and it happens to be on the Leonard Skinner date.
Oh, no kidding.
oh, jeez.
So we're
I
playing
know.
down the road, at the same time as Skinner,
I
which will
know.
probably
I
be
know.
one of the bigger
Yeah.
things. And
Oh,
that's
yeah.
what we
I
go
would
through.
think.
That's what we go through. That's what
Yeah,
we have to do.
I would think. Yeah,
That's
for
gonna
sure.
be nuts. All right, Mark, thank you for your time today, man.
Oh, you kidding? It's my
appreciate it.
pleasure.
And
Yeah, absolutely.
we'll check you in again.
Absolutely. Okay,
Thanks,
guys. It was great talking to you. Take
Thanks,
care.
Mark.
Joining us now on the pod, we're very pleased and honored, as we always are, to be joined by the Mayor of Syracuse, Ben Walsh. How are you, Mayor?
Doing great, Jim. Happy summer and glad to be back on with you.
Yes, thank you, and we're happy to have you here. And it's been a good summer so far for me. Now, for the Mayor of Syracuse, not quite what you expected, but we've got some stuff to talk about. So let's talk about first the juvenile crime issue and the problems therein. The latest outrage was the kid on the scooter shooting a bunch of little kids, and that's it's a problem for
Crazy.
every urban area. But in the summertime, this stuff starts to happen. What are you going to do?
Yeah. Well, we do a lot, and it is, but it is frustrating. It's tragic, and as you said, it's a problem much bigger than any of us. But this time of year is always the toughest, and like you said, it's difficult because the season's changing. People are getting outdoors and doing more activities and having fun. But with that, especially end of June, beginning of July, kids are out of school. We have a spike of these incidents, and they are tragic. But we have for a city our size to have 8 pools open for free. We have tons of parks programming. We have our police athletic league. We have a massive summer youth employment program. We are not just accepting this as our fate. We are working really hard to give kids a lot of positive things to do. But ultimately, we can't get inside the walls of that home. We can't fix what's going on in there, and oftentimes that's where things are breaking down.
Now, to that end, we lose $30 million in a grant that was given to us to improve the lives of people in that area, and we lose that money, and that's just devastating.
Yeah, we're not giving up without a fight. We are working really hard to work every angle we can to see if that can still be salvaged. But again, when you look at what the project is about, so you have the Interstate 81 project, and then we get this $180 million Reconnecting Communities grant. The state gets 150 of that. We get 30. It's all about making critical improvements to neighborhoods. And that isn't a political thing. It's not woke. It's not right or left. It's just helping people and making investments in infrastructure and open space, sidewalks, roads, all those things that are critical no matter what city or state you're in. And it's just, it makes no sense and incredibly maddening. But again, we're not going down without a fight.
Can the state fill in some of the gap?
We're having conversations. We've got a grant application going out now for one of their programs that could backfill some of those funds. So yes, we are also aggressively pursuing other opportunities.
So moving from that to another kind of controversial topic, and that's the Syracuse Housing Authority again. It's just, instead of getting better, it gets progressively worse. I don't get it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you and I have talked about this before. It's another incredibly frustrating thing. I've made my feelings about the authority and specifically the executive director clear to him as well as to the board. I met with board leadership within the past couple of weeks, reiterated my concerns, reiterated your point that things haven't gotten better. They've got some important, difficult decisions to make very soon. And if there is good news in there, it's that despite all of that, we are pushing these projects up the hill. We're still expecting a closing for the first phase of the East Adams project, hopefully by within the next month. The Eastwood Heights project around the same time frame. So it's not as if nothing's happening, but it's a lot harder than it needs to be.
Now let's talk about some good news, because I never in a million years thought this would ever happen. But the Syracuse Developmental Center site is cleaned. It's everything's gone. It's like scraped. Never ever thought that would happen.
Yeah, it's been a massive project, and I mean that thing was built to last. The foundation, the casings that go far into the ground. It was a beast, but it is clear. We're just taking care of a few underground utility issues, and I actually was in a department head meeting this morning talking to our city engineer about the next step, which will be to start building out the infrastructure, the roads, the utilities, and the developer, the Albany's group from downstate, are doing soil borings right now, preparing for their redevelopment project, the first phase of that, which is slated to close on their financing by the end of the year. So it's been a long time coming, but it starts with us taking the property on back taxes, getting the governor to make a significant commitment to helping us clear the site, but it is coming to fruition. We focus a lot on the things that aren't happening. To your point, that one is.
Yeah, never thought I'd see it, and it's fantastic. So what is going to go up there, Mayor?
So we've got, again, we partnered with the Albany's group. They are doing housing primarily. So it will be a combination of mixed income rental housing, as well as we connected them with Home Headquarters, and Home Headquarters is going to be building owner occupied townhomes kind of along the perimeter of the site to make it blend in with the Tip Hill neighborhood better. And then we did carve out a significant portion of the site where we want to do some type of tech manufacturing. We would love to do it in the drone space, because it's right a block away from PSLA at Fowler, where we have the drone program. We obviously see a lot of growth that's coming from Micron and other kind of tech manufacturing companies. So we want it to be a mixed use neighborhood, and that's the kind of the final piece. But the housing is all put together. The first phase is financed, and we'll look to close by the end of this year.
That's just fantastic. For people who don't know, this is a huge parcel of land, almost adjacent to the zoo, right? And
Yeah.
it's like, isn't it plus 40 acres? It's
Yeah,
huge.
it's about 50. And speaking of the zoo, we still do plan. We got to work out the details, but we have carved out a portion of that site for the zoo, assuming we can make the deal on it. But the county executive and I are both committed to doing that, so it'll help the zoo as well.
Excellent.
Mayor,
Now-
I got one thing before you
Sure,
go into
Bill.
it. A few weeks ago, there was an article about permits needed for establishments in Syracuse to have live music.
Yeah.
And and the biggest concern was our friends at the 443, because of the way that they do business, which I think is a great model, and they have some of the best world-class music that goes into that place. Has anything come of that since that article? I haven't really heard a lot.
Yeah. Great question, Bill. And I love what 443 does as well, and I love live music, and so it was unfortunate that it came out the way that it did. Basically, what happened is oftentimes it starts with a problem, and the problem in this case was what happened up at the Westcott. We began to dig into our licensing process and realized that the city, including this administration, had not been consistently enforcing the licensing rules. But we also realized that the licensing rules are antiquated and outdated. For a place like 443 and a lot of other places that have consistently have live music, a bar, the size and nature of the crowd doesn't change dramatically. They should be required and ultimately are required to get an annual license. There was some confusion and 443 is a little bit different. There was some confusion about whether or not they are going to be required to get a license, an entertainment license for every show. That's crazy. And so that is not the case. But we're going to try to clean up the laws so it's clear and less burdensome, while also still giving us the ability to enforce for when we have situations like we did at the Westcott, which was was not on our radar and obviously caused a real problem.
And that's all been cleared up, and then the Westcott's been reopened, and music has gone on.
Yes. Yep. So again, in the short term, I think everyone understands what category they fall into now, and then in the midterm, we got to clean up the legislation just to make sure that it's clear going forward.
All right, one more before I let you go. Let's talk about your relationship with the council now going forward to the end of your term. This budget season didn't go the way, of course, that you wanted it to, and now
Yeah.
we've had to accept cuts to some major departments.
Yeah, brutal and really unnecessary. And I've worked really hard over the past 7.5 years to maintain a positive working relationship with the council, and I have. And to this day, with the exception of maybe one, they will all pick up the phone when I call. That one being Councilor Hogan, who seems to have not gotten over the primary loss yet, which is a shame because we had a really good working relationship before. But politics does funny things to people. But the reality is, politics aside, at a time when we've more than doubled our fund balance, the credit rating agencies have given us upgrades. We are in good financial shape. There wasn't a need, if you want to cut, a few $1 million here and there to be conservative and fiscally prudent, okay, let's talk. But to blindly cut 16 million out of the budget without consulting, forget about me, with department heads, was just irresponsible. And now the crazy thing is that now we are being forced to implement this budget, and the community and the council are saying, well, you can't really cut that. And I say, that's exactly what you did, and we warned you that this was going to happen. And so, it's frustrating seems to be the word today. It is, but I am trying post primary to try to hit the reset button with the council. Again, I have good relationships with them. They're good people. They just something went sideways along the way, but I'm really committed to trying to straighten it out through the end of my term here.
Are we going to then have to suffer through this, Mayor? I mean, what's going to suffer the most? The fire department, the police department?
It's those two. It's those two, because the argument from the council was that we don't always spend everything in our budget, and that's true. We consistently underspend. I've always said we budget for the worst case scenario, and we manage toward the best, and we've done very good at that. We've had multiple surpluses in recent years, but police and fire are very good at what they do, obviously, but also managing their budget. They don't not spend money. So when you cut each of the departments by $3.5 million, there's nowhere for it. There's nowhere to go. There's nowhere other than the fund balance, which would require us to go back to the council, which they've said they're open to. But we have to make decisions today that impact the rest of the year. We can't rely on the council to, and we don't expect that they would come right back and go, okay, here's your money back. So I think it's some of it is just a lack of familiarity with city operations and how and when these decisions need to be made. And again, if we were standing on a fiscal cliff, talking about bankruptcy, I'd get it. But we're a long way from there, in a much better place. So again, I think it certainly influenced by mayoral politics. I'm hoping that we can help them better understand the implications and try to maybe get some back.
Always about politics in the end. Thank you, Mayor, for your time as always. I appreciate it very, very much.
You got it, Jim. Nice to talk to you.
Have a great summer. All right, another packed show, that's for sure. But, one thing, Bill, you told me that THC place in Liverpool was closed. That was a lie.
Yeah, I guess they didn't. The only one that I guess they had one in the city. This is just really disturbs me because I don't know how they let this guy do this. It's an illegal marijuana shop, any way you say it. It's like if I went to a storefront and I put in a library of books, but when you bought a book, I gave you an old fashioned.
Right.
I'd be shut down in 8 seconds. This guy's got 3 locations. He's got one in Liverpool, one in East Syracuse, and they're opening one up in Central Square.
Well, then why is it illegal? I mean, why?
Because they don't have the New York State license. So you got to get licensed by the New York State, just like you do for.
Sure.
But he's trying to get around it as like a loophole because when I went there when they first opened, they had like a art gallery in the back. So you're paying to get into the art gallery, is what they say, or because it's a private club. They're calling it a private club. Mm-hmm. So you're paying to go into the club and not paying for the, like I think one time I went in there, I paid for a sticker and the sticker got me the pre-rolls.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, but it's not. There's no regulation to it,
Yeah, no.
and that's the problem.
Yeah.
That's the problem. You don't know what with all this stuff that's going around today.
Yeah.
I know it probably is a little cheaper than the dispensaries, but you're getting better stuff at the dispensaries.
And I also think that when more dispensaries open, the prices will have to come down. The prices are high. They really are. But as if you saw the article on Syracuse.com the other day, the potency is so strong that people are ODing.
Yep.
And they're going to the ER. So it's an interesting business. I think, to me, they made it too strong, but now the people smoking it now are used to it now. So I don't know.
Infused, diamond infused, hash infused, bubble infused. It's all
crazy.
there's a ton. And
Like
my
you
question,
said,
my thing is, if you do enjoy the stuff and you go to these places, if you're unsure, the places have to have, I think, on the storefront the license number, like you would like a bar.
Mm-hmm.
Just go in there and ask if you're New York State licensed, and they have to tell you the truth, because THC is not New York State licensed, not at all, and that takes away from the money that people
who did it the right way.
did it the right way.
Yes.
And you know what? The state, I believe, the way that they went by it for the first round of stores, you had to have a weed charge
Right.
to
On your record.
on
yes.
your record to be. You had to be one person in your business portfolio person. Had to have a charge to know about it, because they want you to make sure they know about it.
Right.
You know about the product.
Right.
And that's all this. And these stores, I have two friends. One owns one runs one. And they have experts coming in all the time for, seminars and, growing seminars and medical seminars and what it does. That's what you're getting from the New York State licensed places. Ravens Joint on 31, Vitaleaf and Erie Boulevard. They're popping up now left and right. There's
Yes.
There's two of them now in the North Syracuse Cicero area.
Right.
Some cities and municipalities have chosen to opt out. So I don't think you're going to see them right in the village of Baldwinsville, and
No.
village of Liverpool.
No.
That's another thing. How the village of Liverpool opted out, but there's this guy's in Liverpool. I don't know.
Very strange.
I don't know why the authorities can't go in and shut them down.
Yeah, I don't either.
Just like there are 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 of the smoke shops between here
Yes.
and I would say down by the old Market Fair North place down in Cicero.
Yes.
There is one right here on 31 in the little plaza at the
But
end.
a smoke shop can't sell weed.
No, but they were shut down because they
Right.
were.
Yes. Right.
They had the municipality that runs the marijuana came, put these big huge stickers on the
Yes.
thing, shut down.
Yeah.
All of them but one between here and Marketplace got nabbed
Right.
about 6-8 months ago. The one behind Sake Bomb
Yes.
stayed open. I went in there to get something, and I'm like, "Oh, you dodged the bullet." He goes, "I learned the first time."
So he's not selling weed.
No,
Good.
nope. So and they shot. I don't know how. I don't understand how this guy is, and he has the balls to sue. He's suing. I mean, he's not shy about it, because he goes off on his Facebook page, and I don't know the guy's name.
Well, we don't need his name.
I don't know his name offhand, but he's talking about lawsuits on their Facebook page and stuff. But I don't know.
If he must have discovered some kind of loophole or something. I guess the whole we're joining a club thing or whatever. He's found a loophole around it. He's found a way around it.
There was one of those in North Syracuse too. Haven Collective. Or the Ling Ling buffet that just reopened.
Yes.
Right next door to there used to be it looks like a house, but it used to be a tattoo parlor.
Okay.
That was one of those clubs. You'd go in, you'd have to have you bought those plastic or silicone wristbands.
Yes.
That's how you got in. So it was a club, but he got shut down.
Interesting.
He's gone. I don't know. Maybe we should have like an expert.
Yeah. Here's the problem, and the biggest problem is his product is not regulated. So you don't know what, if anything, is in that product. You don't know because it's not regulated. So, if I'm going to imbibe, I'm not going to imbibe unless I know who grew it.
Exactly.
That's it.
At this point, with all the fentanyl. Now, if I'm saying anything that's not true and this guy hears it, you're more than welcome to give me a call.
Definitely.
And you can come on and explain how you're doing this in a legal way. Why you 3 stores.
Yeah.
And like I said, I feel bad for all of them.
Right.
All
the guys who do it right.
Flintstone's he's got the empire.
Yes.
But
he did it right.
He did it right. Herb Z, which is in North Syracuse, they're nice people over there. These people spent thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to get licenses, redo the stores, make sure they're compliant, get the right products in. The products, it's kind of cool because, like I said, I know the Ravens joint guys. They have distributors just like the beer, like TJ Sheehan and Onondaga Beverage. They have their own. They're more bulked in. Like 1911 has its own, or Heirloom. Yeah, that they have their own. The truck comes in, they drop it off. I talked to the driver one day, and he's like, "This is the best job I've ever had."
He's high all day.
And I'll tell you, I'll be the first. I love 1911 Beacon Skiff people, what they're doing up there, the president, all those guys, so forward thinking.
Yeah.
And now they've got one of the better smaller outdoor venues for concerts in the summer.
Yes.
And they're getting in,
national acts.
Great national acts. Warren Ziders was there. The Avett Brothers, 2 days.
Yeah.
They've had Primus there.
It's crazy.
Country, rock, everything. And everything that they serve is their stuff.
Yeah, it's amazing because they started out as an apple orchard, and then who had U-Pick, and then they started adding stuff. They added a store, then they added the horse rides, which my kids loved, right? Then they added, I think the next thing was the vodka, right?
Yes,
down the street, and I did a thing on WCNY TV with them about that. Then they did 1911, right? And they start doing the cider and the hard cider and all that stuff. And then now it's weed. Now they have a big grow operation, and they're very, very, very smart people.
Yep, and they're all the stuff. Have you ever had their Bloody Mary mix?
I don't like tomato juice.
Oh, that's right. You forgot about that. It's like a meal in itself. They're great. It's good. It's good stuff. One last thing before we wrap it up. I sat on my kitchen table on the 5th of July before I went to Colica Winery, and I watched about 7 hours of the Ozzy Osbourne final concert. They live streamed it. It was on a 2-hour delay, but it was a $30 ticket. It was. I don't know what was wrong with the technology, but I tried to cast it to my television. It wasn't working. So I had my iPad set up, and I had the audio coming out of my my surround speakers.
Nice.
And that was a Mastodon, Slayer, Metallica. Wow. They had 2 supergroup bands that did Ozzy songs that had a singer of Disturbed, had Jakey Lee, his old guitar player, Chad Smith from Red Hot Chili Peppers on the drums.
The drummer, yeah.
And then the final 2 performances was Ozzy with most of his last band. Zakk Wylde was in, and Pantera played at the thing. Zach's in Pantera now. And then the final 4 songs was the 4 original members of Black Sabbath: Bill Ward, Geezer Butler, Tony Iommi, and Ozzy. And Ozzy's very ill, and he sat on a throne the whole time. But for the shape he was in, still sounded pretty good.
No kidding.
I mean, there was some, and everything's tuned down, real way down.
Sure.
But, dude, at the end of the Sabbath set, 78-year-old Bill Ward rips off his T-shirt, plays the last song with no shirt on. Bald Bill Ward.
Nice tribute, though. Very nice.
It was very good. It was fun to watch a lot of that stuff, and they are the reason that heavy metal is around. Yeah, they are the reason.
Yep. All right, that's going to do it for this edition. Another packed edition. We'll have another good pod ready for you next time, no doubt. So take care of yourselves, okay? God willing, we're all back at it next time on the Jim Reith Show Unleashed podcast.